Hey gang, this is John. I just wanted to show you some modifications I've made to my sheaths to turn them from a regular sheath into a dangler. I like to have dangler sheaths over the regular standard. This is a standard type sheath where your belt goes through. The reason why I like to use a dangler over this type is a couple of things. One, when you sit down, this type of sheath jabs into makes the knife jab into your side because it doesn't really flex and move much. The other reason is when I like to wear a backpack a lot, and when I'm wearing a backpack with a waist belt, the belt comes right across your knife. Besides being uncomfortable, it makes it completely inaccessible. So putting a dangler, making it into a dangler, drops it down, and it also allows it to freely rotate. So when you're sitting in your car or sitting down or doing anything, it moves and gets out of your way. So let me show you what I use. Is I get the split rings that are used for keychains, and you can find these at any hardware store like Lowe's or Home Depot or a store like that. Come in various sizes. You can get them, I think, down to about a ½ inch in diameter. And so what you do is you start out. Here's one that I have already made. I have to tell you, my battery went out dead, so I had to redo this video. So I'm kind of going backwards because I already made these on camera before and I lost all that video. Here's an example of one. What you do is you split the ring open. I'll show you how I do, like this. Split it open. And then just start working it around and get it into the leather. When you're done, you've got it like this. So now you want to use a big one for that, so that there's enough space across here for the leather. And then I put a small one inside that bigger ring. The reason why I do that is because when you put it on, and I hang them off of a carabiner off of my belt loop, the carabiner is going to be in this plane like this, and you want the knife in the same plane so that when it's on your side. Let me show you. It's on your side. When it's on your side, the carabiner is flat in here, and the knife rides flat on your side because you've got it rotated 90 degrees through the small one. If you had it in the big one, it would be like this, and so it would either be sideways this way or sideways that way. So I just add that extra one, and you can see this allows you to completely move around. If you need your knife, you can easily reach over and get a lot of control taking it out and putting it back in. So I would much rather have a dangler style. I use real carabiners because if you need to use it for anything else, a real carabiner can be used, like I've used them for hammocks. Last weekend I was stuck in the snow, and I pulled one of these off and hooked it to a tow strap and was able to have somebody tow me up a hill. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I would have had the non-climbing, inexpensive carabiners. So that's how I make my danglers. Here's another example. Here's an example of using, this is one of the non-climbing, inexpensive carabiners you can get for $1 or $2, and they work fine. They're strong enough to hold your knife. It's just you won't be able to use them for much else. But this is another example. You also want to try to find the smallest, the center one, or the secondary one. You want that to be as small as possible. I've got some that are a little bigger because I ran out of these little small ones, but that's what you really want to use because you don't want it hanging down too far. Now I'll show you how to put one. I'll make this out of this. I'll make a dangler out of this one. This is a Gerber Big Rock camp knife. and it's a great starter knife for somebody in bushcrafting or just being in the woods. It's full tang, 1/8 inch, stainless, and very sturdy knife, and it's a comfortable handle. The sheath leaves a little to be desired, but I'm sure that's how they help keep the cost down. But so to make one of these in a dangler style, you see this is wide, and you see how this is too wide for the diameter of this ring. So what you can do is they have cables that you can buy for keychains that just unscrew, and because it's flexible, you can put that in here. So what you want to do is and I ran out of little tiny ones. Let's just pretend this is a lot smaller. Put this on, and now run this through your sheath. Screw it together, and then I rotate this junction inside so it doesn't catch on anything, and there's your ring. And then you can attach a carabiner. Here's another type I have. I don't use these very often because they're really heavy. This is a stainless carabiner, and I like the fact it's stainless because it doesn't rust, but they're extremely heavy, so I would very seldom use that, but this is just another example. Okay, so that makes that into a dangler. Now, one of the other modifications I wanted to show you is fire steels. This is an example of this is a Light My Fire Army. It's a 3/8 inch diameter rod, and it's got a handle on it, and it comes with its own striker. When you get the sheaths, I always get a sheath, or try to get a sheath that's got a firesteel loop in it. And here's an example of what I like. Okay, I'll take this one out, and this is what I started with. It only fits one way because of the handle's wide, but you see it doesn't stick out here far enough to really hook it over. And so this type can get loose as the leather stretches, or as it gets used up. So what I have started doing is I start with a 4-inch long by 3/8 diameter, which is the same diameter as most fire steel loops are made for an army size Light My Fire steel. So I take this 4-inch long one. I use 4-inch because there's a lot of material to hold on to, and so it lasts a lot longer too. It's just easier to work with. But I go through Ron, I think it's LaFontaine, from firesteel.com. They've got a great website. He's got all kinds of fire steel items, but one of them is you can get different sizes of fire steel blanks, and I get the pre-drilled ones. So there's a hole drilled in it. I put a snap ring through it, and then I take an ordinary hair tie that you can get, so you can see it better, a hair tie that you can get at any type of Walmart or any place like that. You can get colored ones, even this is a brown one. My wife's got these all over. I found them in parking lots. They're just everywhere. So they're easy to find, but they're a giant, like a rubber band. And what you do is you just put it through the loop, put it back through itself, forming a lark's head or a cow hitch, just like that. I'll do that again. Just bend it over and run it through the loop, and now just bring it through itself, just like this. Okay? Then you just insert it in the fire steel loop like that, and pull it down, and it locks in. just like that. So it will not fall out. It's easy to put in and take out. Just lock it down. So that's how I do all my fire steels now. You've even got a ring on here if you want to tie a string to it. I don't typically, but you could put a string on it. So again, okay, here's on this one. That's what it looks like on this one. Okay. And so that's my mod for my fire steel. Okay, once again, I'll put the in the notes at the bottom. I'll put the website for the firesteel.com. The other thing I did is I cut off the end of my belt because this belt was too big anyway. So I cut the end of it off. I cut it off just behind where one of the holes is, and then I put a ring on it, another ring. And I keep these. I keep this stuff on a carabiner on my backpack. This has got gel wax cotton balls and stuff in it, and it's a prying tool. I keep this on here, and what I use this for is when I'm making a fire with a bow drill. This is a piece of leather. I put this on the ground and I put the hearth board on it, and I catch the ember on top of this. It insulates it from the ground. It's pretty much temperature neutral, and it doesn't burn or anything, and it makes a great ember catcher. And then you just pick it up and transfer it, and you don't have to worry about trying to find a piece of bark or a leaf. You'd think that you'd never run out of material, but there's been times when I couldn't find a leaf or a piece of bark thin enough to get under there comfortably. And I don't like using a knife blade because they're typically cold. You want to make sure, I like making sure that everything is pretty much heat neutral, because of you're working with, when you're trying to create an ember anyway, you don't want anything cooling off the dust. And it probably doesn't make any difference. It's probably just in my head, but I prefer something like this. So that's another tip. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please comment or send me a PM. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. You have a great day. I'll catch you on the next one. God bless.